In July 2021, a young couple on a road trip took an unexpected exit off I-90 in South Dakota. They sent a smiling selfie from a roadside diner that no longer exists. Their car was found parked neatly out front, doors unlocked, keys inside. But no one has any record of the diner, and no one has seen them since. Taylor and Mia Lewis were the kind of couple who didn't vanish. If you knew them, or followed their heavily curated travel blog, you'd know that they were always online, always together, always updating their small but loyal community with cheerful snapshots from the road. They had recently hit the 5-year mark in their relationship and planned a long scenic drive from Minneapolis to Yellowstone National Park. Mia wanted to vlog the entire thing, while Taylor handled most of the navigation, logistics, and filming. They both had flexible jobs, freelance video editors, and often worked from the road. The route was simple. Take Interstate 90 west across South Dakota, stop at a few weird roadside attractions, and hit the Badlands before reaching Wyoming. Their silver Subaru Outback was equipped with all the essentials: snacks, camera gear, camping supplies, and a GoPro permanently mounted on the dashboard. Nothing about their trip was unplanned. They had hotel bookings, gas stops, and hiking permits arranged days in advance. Taylor even had a spreadsheet. On July 19, 2021, they checked out of a motel in Mitchell, South Dakota, around 9:30 a.m. Their final destination for the day was a lodge just outside Wall, near the eastern edge of Badlands National Park. It should have been a short drive, less than 3 hours. At 11:12 a.m., Mia posted a story to Instagram, a short clip of the car dashboard, the wide open plains on either side, and her voice softly singing along to some indie road trip playlist. Her caption read, "Empty roads, big skies, just us." That would be the last anyone heard from them. When Taylor's sister, Erica, didn't get her usual, made it safe text by 3 p.m., she didn't panic right away. Cell service was spotty along certain parts of I-90. She gave it until nightfall. Still nothing. No texts, no stories, no blog updates. By the next morning, Erica reported them missing. South Dakota Highway Patrol began tracing their route. Using phone data, toll records, and security cams, they were able to follow the Subaru's journey almost completely, until it suddenly veered off I-90 at exit 212 at precisely 11:26 a.m. That's where the trail broke. According to maps, exit 212 was supposed to lead to a service road under construction. Old cracked asphalt leading into farmlands. Not much else. But oddly, dashcam footage from their GoPro, recovered later, showed something very different. At 11:25 a.m., Taylor is seen driving. Mia films him joking about how boring the drive is. There's a green road sign coming into view. Exit 212, Claremont Junction, gas diner lodging. Erica, who had watched the dashcam footage a dozen times, said what bothered her wasn't the content. It was the sign itself. Claremont Junction doesn't show up on any recent map of South Dakota. No population, no county listing, not even on the Department of Transportation's 2020 database. But there it was, on video. At 11:27 a.m., the GoPro records the couple pulling off the highway onto a 2-lane road surrounded by fields. The camera cuts out moments later, not with a click, but with a soft warping sound, almost like tape being bent. Investigators said the file was corrupted in a way they hadn't seen before. But that wasn't even the strangest part. 2 days later, authorities located Taylor's Subaru. It was parked neatly in front of a building with faded red paint, boarded up windows, and a rusted metal sign swinging in the wind. Donna's Diner, since 1948. The doors of the car were unlocked. Keys were still in the ignition. Phones were in the center console, dead from battery loss. Inside the diner, everything was covered in dust. Tables, chairs, menus. Investigators described the scene as frozen in time. Coffee mugs sat upside down beside empty creamers. A cracked jukebox leaned against the back wall, and on the kitchen counter, a guest check receipt with 2 orders scribbled in faded pencil. On BLT, W fries, 1 veggie omelet. Liz, no fingerprints were found inside. No fresh food. No cash. And no sign of Mia or Taylor. Locals didn't have much to offer. Some said Claremont Junction had been abandoned for decades, a farming town that never quite recovered from the Dust Bowl. Others claimed it was never a real town at all, just a nickname truckers used for a cluster of rest stops in the 70s. No one remembered a diner called Donna's. Still, there it stood, rotting and silent in the middle of nowhere. The case was quietly passed off as another missing persons file. The footage was inconclusive. There were no signs of struggle, and according to satellite imaging, there was no visible road leading to or from the diner. Just open land. It's as if they drove into a place that wasn't supposed to exist. 3 weeks later, Erica received a letter. It had no return address, just her name, handwritten in ink. Inside was a single Polaroid photograph. Taylor and Mia sat inside a diner booth, smiling at the camera. A plate of fries between them. In the background, behind the booth's window, dark trees, not open plains, scrawled in pen across the bottom. We're still here, just not where you left us. When Erica showed the Polaroid to detectives, they barely reacted. It wasn't proof of life, they said. It could be doctored. Could we have been taken earlier in the trip? Could we have been a prank? They bagged it for evidence and didn't follow up again. But Erica couldn't shake what she saw. Taylor's watch, visible in the photo, was set to 4:14 p.m., a time after they'd already gone missing. Mia wore a shirt that hadn't appeared in any of their previous posts. Even weirder, the lighting was wrong. The shadows from the window didn't match South Dakota's sun in July. It looked muted, off. And then there were the trees. In every photo from that stretch of the trip, the landscape was flat plains. But behind them in the photo, thick, dark woods stretched deep, twisted trunks, heavy canopies, like the kind you'd find in the Pacific Northwest. Not prairie country. It didn't make sense. 2 weeks later, Erica decided to drive to exit 212 herself. She borrowed her boyfriend's Jeep, brought extra gas, a satellite phone, and a printed version of the old dashcam still. If the sign for Claremont Junction was still there, she'd find it. But when she reached the highway and passed exit 211, nothing. No green sign. No off-ramp. No indication there had ever been an exit 212. Just a patch of trees bordering a long stretch of dead grass and silence. She turned around, checked again. Still nothing. Frustrated, she stopped at a nearby town to ask a gas station clerk about Claremont Junction. The old man behind the counter squinted, then shook his head. That name hasn't come up in a long time, he said. Why? Erica asked. He hesitated. Because there was never supposed to be a road there. He wouldn't explain further. Erica returned home and started digging. Library microfilms, archive maps. She searched for anything mentioning Claremont Junction or Donna's Diner. Eventually, she found a single article dated July 4th, 1975, titled, Local couple missing after weekend drive, last seen near Claremont Junction. It mentioned a pair of newlyweds, Charlie and Renee McCall, who went out for ice cream and never returned. Their car was found on a dirt road by an old diner, Donna's Diner. Same name, same location, same story, and just like Taylor and Mia, they vanished without a trace. The case went cold. Locals blamed poor signage or old logging trails. But the kicker? The article included a photograph of Donna's Diner taken by police. It matched Erica's footage perfectly. Same rusted sign, same booth near the window, and in the photo, barely visible in the window's reflection, were 2 people sitting inside. Their faces were blurred, but one of them wore a shirt eerily similar to Taylor's, Desperate for answers, Erica posted the Polaroid online, asking if anyone recognized the trees in the background. One reply stood out. "That looks like Black Hollow. It's an old-growth patch northwest of the Badlands. Most people avoid it. Used to be a logging town there. Abandoned in the 60s. Locals say the woods don't like to let people leave." That same night, Erica received a voicemail from a blocked number. She never heard it ring. Just a single message. "Don't look for us. It only notices you when you remember. The exit finds you." She didn't sleep that night. The next morning, her satellite phone, unused and powered off, had one unsent message in the drafts folder. Just 2 words. "It's watching." No one admitted to typing it. The device hadn't been online in weeks. Erica was scared, but she couldn't stop. Not now. Not when so many pieces were clicking into place. She printed out the 1975 article, the photo of the diner, and screenshots from Mia's Instagram. Her plan was to visit Black Hollow in person and search for any clue, any leftover trace of Taylor and Mia. But when she tried to locate Black Hollow on Google Maps, the app crashed repeatedly. She tried on her laptop. Same result. Using a topographic map from a state archive site, she finally found it, marked only by an old ranger station and a collapsed observation tower. So she drove. It took 3 hours of back roads, loose gravel, and total silence to reach the edge of Black Hollow. A rusted chain blocked a narrow trail leading into the woods, with a faded sign that read, "No entry, unsafe terrain. Closed since 1984. She parked and walked in, armed with nothing but a flashlight, a compass, and then the Polaroid. 50 feet into the woods, the temperature dropped. The wind disappeared. And something else happened. Her compass stopped spinning. It just pointed straight ahead. The deeper she went, the more unnatural it felt. The trees weren't just tall. They were leaning, as if listening. Her footsteps echoed like she was indoors. Then she saw it. Through a clearing, surrounded by gnarled trees and moss-covered rocks. The diner. Donna's diner. Exactly as it looked in the photo. Same shape, same colors, same warped sign swinging above the front door. But it wasn't supposed to be there. It hadn't existed for over 40 years. And through the cracked window, she saw someone move. By now, the investigation had grown well beyond a local matter. The FBI got involved after state authorities admitted they couldn't trace Taylor and Maya's whereabouts beyond Claremont Junction. The case had all the ingredients of a potential abduction, except for one confounding fact. There was no sign of struggle. No blood. No broken glass. Nothing stolen. Yet something didn't sit right. Detective Carter, a 20-year veteran of missing persons cases, reviewed the footage from Taylor's GoPro again, frame by frame. The entire drive looked ordinary. Cornfields, gas stations, rest stops. But at 12:08 p.m., just after exit 212, there was a 4-minute black gap. The device powered off. When it came back on, the couple was parked outside what looked like an old roadside diner. Hand-painted sign, chipped red benches, a payphone bolted to the side. Taylor turned the camera toward Mia and said, "Bonus stop. This place looks like it hasn't changed since the 60s. They walked in. That was the final video clip recovered. Investigators took the footage to the South Dakota Tourism Board, local historians, and even archivists. No one could identify the diner. There was no record of it ever existing along that highway. Not now. Not even 20 years ago." Carter went himself to exit 212. He took a drone, hoping to spot some old foundations or hidden structures. The drone's GPS read just one thing when hovering over the empty dirt lot where Taylor's car had supposedly been parked. Location not recognized. 2 days later, Taylor's phone turned on for 5 seconds. At 2:37 a.m., his sister Erica received a missed FaceTime call. She watched in disbelief as the phone rang once, then went dead. She tried calling back, but it wouldn't connect. Within hours, The call log was erased from Taylor's Apple ID entirely. FBI forensics confirmed the signal originated near the same stretch of road where their phones had originally pinged. Except this time, it was almost 3 miles west, in a place with no road access. That morning, Carter returned with a local search crew and dogs. They combed the area by foot and found something buried in the brush just off the old county line. A silver digital camera with a cracked lens. Inside was one undeleted file. The photo showed Taylor and Mia standing in front of the diner, smiling. Behind them, barely visible in the photo's edge, was an elderly man in overalls, staring at the camera. His face blurred, not by motion, but as if it had been smeared by something unnatural. The diner in the photo didn't match any known businesses in the state, but one retired journalist, Margot Keyes, saw the image during a press briefing and froze. She pulled Carter aside later that night and whispered, "That's the Churn Diner. But it burned down in 1983. Carter asked her to elaborate. Margot explained that in the summer of '83, a married couple had stopped at that exact diner during a thunderstorm. The husband came running out an hour later, screaming that his wife was missing. He claimed the staff wouldn't let her leave. When police arrived, the diner had already caught fire. The entire structure collapsed within 15 minutes. No bodies were ever found. Not the wife's. Not the staff. Just scorched earth. Since then, that patch of land had supposedly been fenced off. But the fencing had long since disappeared." Carter pressed her. "Was this in Claremont Junction?" Margot nodded slowly. "That town isn't on maps anymore. Not since the diner burned." The next day, Carter and his team returned once more. This time, following coordinates from the buried camera's metadata. They reached a grove of twisted pine trees that hadn't appeared in satellite images. Beneath the largest pine, they found remnants of burnt wood and iron bolts, the faint outline of a structure. Carter stood quietly, letting the place speak. There was no wind, no sound, just the pressure of something heavy in the air. Watching, one of the agents stepped forward and muttered, "Sir, there's something here." Buried in the ash was a single diner menu, laminated, fragile, dated July 17th, 1983. As they packed up to leave, one of the techs suddenly stopped and turned pale. He held up his phone. "I just got a new airdrop." The name? Miel. Attached was one image. Grainy, dimly lit. It showed a narrow hallway, metal walls, a single red bulb overhead, and a hand pressed against glass. The caption beneath it, "We shouldn't have turned." Sheriff Daniel stood outside the hollow shell of the old diner, hands on his hips, lips pursed. They had finally gotten approval to investigate the interior after the property was tagged as non-commercial ruin by the county. The building looked frozen in time, like something from a ghost town tourism stop, complete with rusted signage, broken windows, and moldy red leather booths. But there was something else, something deeply wrong. Inside, the layout matched Taylor's Instagram story to eerie perfection. The red counter, the gum-chewed jukebox, the home-style pie board. Even the cash register was the same. But it wasn't just a match. It was the place. A forensic team confirmed. Taylor and Mia had been there. A deep scrape ran along the back corner of the counter, partially covered in dried blood. DNA confirmed it was Mia's. The place hadn't been used legitimately since 1994. At the same time, Erica and Detective Harrow visited the nearby junked farmhouse from where the camper footage was captured. The door creaked open slowly, revealing dust-choked air and walls covered with old, decaying newspapers. Every window was nailed shut. The house smelled like rot and oil. But the strangest thing was a room at the back. It looked like a shrine. Taped across the walls were Polaroids, hundreds of them, of couples. Some smiling in diners, others looking confused in woods, others lifeless. Harrow froze. In one frame, toward the top, was a blurry photo of Taylor and Mia standing outside the diner. But behind them, mostly obscured by shadow, was the figure of a man. Thin, tall, standing just inside the doorway. His face was missing, scratched out. A hand-scrawled caption beneath the photo read, "He only lets the lost in." Harrow's theory had grown darker. The road Taylor and Mia had taken, exit 212, no longer existed. Official state maps had no record of it. The traffic cams that should have recorded them exiting were somehow glitched. Both the westbound and eastbound feeds cut out from 11:58 a.m. to 12:04 p.m. that day. Just long enough. Some of the local farmers whispered about a man named Harlan Grieve, an ex-diner owner who vanished in the early 90s after allegedly being involved in the disappearance of another couple. His family diner was shut down after a health code raid. Some believed he never left. Others said he made a pact to keep the diner alive by feeding it people. 2 weeks after the initial search, one final development shook the entire case. A trucker passing through the outskirts of Oglala National Grassland, almost 100 miles west of Claremont Junction, spotted a silver Subaru Outback parked near an abandoned fire tower, hidden by thick pines. Inside were Taylor's drone, Mia's camera bag, 2 unopened granola bars, and a single cassette tape. The tape was unmarked. Authorities had it digitized immediately. The audio was muffled, scratchy. Then came Mia's voice. She sounded scared, frantic. "If anyone finds this, we were never supposed to take that exit. It wasn't real. The road, the diner, it pulled us in. There was no town, just a loop." He kept showing up, smiling, watching. "We couldn't find the highway again." There was a pause. Then Taylor's voice, shaking. "We're going back to the diner tonight. There's something under the floor. We can hear it whispering when we try to sleep. I don't know if we're still awake anymore. I don't think we ever left." Then static, then silence. The FBI closed the case with a label no one accepted. Couple likely disoriented, died from exposure. But no bodies were ever found. No footprints. And the tape? It vanished from evidence 2 weeks later. But here's what haunts Erica most. 3 months after the investigation was shut down, she received a plain envelope in the mail. No return address. No note. Just a single Polaroid. It showed a couple sitting at the diner counter laughing over pie. Behind them, near the kitchen door, the tall man stood in shadow again. Still no face. Still watching. The couple in the photo wasn't Taylor and Mia this time. It was a new pair, wearing different clothes, taken in the same exact spot, and the back was labeled, "Next." Hey friends, if you're still watching, I appreciate you. These stories aren't just entertainment. They're reminders to stay alert. Would you have taken that exit? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy this kind of suspense, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps more than you think.
Welcome to Horror Out.